I'm your host, John Myers, live from Stillwater, Oklahoma. We have got a great show tonight. It's John Myers. Hey, everybody. Gotta have my notes. It's John Myers from the KICKER UnMasked studios. Gotta have my notes. Alternator. Hey, everybody. We have fun. Hey, everybody. Hit like and subscribe. Right here, right now. It's John Myers. We like to give stuff away. Alternator. Post some more pictures. We got to thank Steve and Becky live from Stillwater, Oklahoma. Don't forget Texas Roadhouse right here, right now. Hey, everybody. Don't forget right here, right now. We have got a great show tonight. Hey, everybody. Had a great dinner tonight. It's John Myers. Right here, right now. Had a great dinner tonight. So, hey, everybody. So, housekeeping. Had a great dinner tonight. So, alternator. Housekeeping. Housekeeping. So, Tuesday night. Housekeeping. From the KICKER UnMasked studios. Housekeeping. Right here, right now. Hey, everybody. So, it's John Myers. Hey, everybody. It's John Myers from the KICKER UnMasked studios. Hey, everybody. From the KICKER UnMasked studios. It's John Myers. Right here, right now. We have got a great show tonight. Hey, everybody. We have got a great show tonight. It's John Myers. Hey, everybody. Right here,
Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in. Tonight we got a show, KICKER UnMasked for you guys. We're going to be talking all about the Key line of products. We've got the Key 200.4, the Key 500.1, and the Key LOC. So if you guys are interested to learn how KICKER makes DSP simple, be sure to stick around and we're going to get deep into the details. But we've got Ernie working the computer, we got Jeremy back there, Bill doing social media as usual, and Aaron is going to be hosting with me tonight. So all the usual suspects. Bambro's not here, but we can make do without him. And yeah, that's all we got for you. Be sure and stick around. We're going to talk some key products tonight. So we've got a special guest here. This is Abigail, and some of you guys might remember her from a few episodes back when we did a sound system install in her car. But for those of you that don't remember, Abigail, what do you do here at KICKER?
Yeah, I'm a graphic designer. So that means I do like flyers, posters, banners, stuff like that.
So you didn't come to Kicker to work on the car stereo side of things like the rest of us?
Not really.
Cool. So what kind of car do you have? So I know, first off, we had some unique challenges that we needed to address when we were putting a sound system in your vehicle, but what do you drive?
So I drive a 2019 Toyota Camry hybrid. It's a hybrid.
Yeah, exactly. It's a hybrid. So for those of you guys that don't do audio system installs on the regular, hybrid has some special challenges that we have to address, namely working with the limited charging system in that vehicle. But before we put a sound system in your car, have you ever had a sound system in any of your vehicles before?
No, I have not.
So you've always just been driving with factory sound pretty much?
Yeah.
You ever had any friends with sound systems? What kind of made you first want to get one?
I got a pretty sweet car. It looks good, it looks good. I was like, I need it to sound good now.
Well, yeah, we could certainly help you out with that one. And so once we put all of the stuff in, and by the way, there's a reason we're talking about this again. So tonight's show is all about the Key line of products. What we put in Abigail's car was a Key 200.4 for the front stage, and we used a Key LOC to kind of deconstruct the factory equalization and things like that in the sound system. But after we installed the Key products in your vehicle, also she has a PTR TP subwoofer, one of the powered down-firing subwoofer enclosures in the trunk, which is great for her because she puts like her golf clubs and stuff in there. But yeah, she golfs, by the way. But what was the first thing you noticed when you drove off after we had put those products in your car?
I gotta say, the first thing I noticed was it really kind of felt enclosed. It felt personalized, the sound, like kind of an experience. And it was loud and everything, and songs sounded great, yeah.
Yeah, you told me earlier that you heard things in songs you had never heard before.
Yeah, there was definitely bass lines that I didn't know existed and all that. Just really made for a better listening experience.
So what these Key products in her car do, the 200.4 will add equalization to the system, and it adds time delay, and the Key LOC will remove any factory equalization, factory time delay, and stuff like that. So all these products kind of combined in her car to bring out that latent potential in her car's sound system. But some of you guys might have watched the teaser that we do before every episode, and we were in the teaser, which was completely unplanned, by the way. But you want to tell these guys what we were doing in the background while Aaron was trying to shoot the teaser?
Yeah, so I was actually having some problems with my sub. The subwoofer would turn off in the middle of songs and then turn back on. And turns out the problem was my battery was dying, but after we got that fixed, it hasn't happened.
Yep, so from what she had told me, so when did you buy that car? Was it like a couple years back?
2021.
2021. And did you say that it had the factory battery in it, like the one that came with the car?
Yeah.
So it's probably about time for that battery to be replaced, but at first I thought that we might have been having a problem with the subwoofer, so we were doing a woofer swap back here. I measured the coils and they read just a little bit higher than they normally do, so I was kind of suspicious, but we swapped them out and it actually made the problem worse, didn't it? So,
yeah.
So she came to work the next day and was like, hey, what gives? You made it worse. And I'm like, oh, crap. So got in there with the multimeter and took some measurements, and turns out whenever she had said that whenever she stopped the car, that was when it would really start to happen. So with the air conditioning running full blast and the audio system and everything else, her battery voltage would drop to like 11, 10.8 volts. And it was getting low enough that it was causing that subwoofer to go in and out of protection. But she got her battery fixed, and that problem is solved. But anyway, we just wanted to bring you on the show, so thanks for coming on. And we'll be right back with the Key 200 and Key 500.1 products in just a minute.
Cool. Am I done?
It's been a long road since the original Kicker christened that first pickup truck. It kicked off a car audio renaissance, and upgrading your music in a vehicle was a requirement. America's music machine became living loud over your passion, your emotion, your existence. Outdoors or on the open road, your sound is Kicker.
we're back. Hey, red light. Sorry, I'm used to hosting, not co-hosting.
Yeah, Abigail, your hair got shorter.
And you got a little rounder in the belly. Thanks, Abigail. And Jacob, of course, he's too modest to tell you this, but it's his birthday. And we did a little celebration. And in fact, I want to show you all the cake that we put together for his birthday. And I should have had this pulled up first. I apologize, but I was in the green room and I didn't have access to my computer in the green room.
The green room being the tables right over there that we eat on, by the way. But yeah, this was a type of cake that I don't think any of us had ever had before. So thank you, Aaron, for picking the restaurant, bakery, restaurant,
yep, bakery.
And the type of cake. But it said "yay" on top of the cake
Pull it up.
because yeah. So pull up Aaron's laptop there, Ernie.
Yay!
So tell him why it says that, man.
So actually tonight, Jacob is supposed to be in Florida at a Disney resort working an event for us. And his flight got delayed, canceled. And so Carlos, who was supposed to be hosting tonight, his son Christian has a final soccer game tonight.
Yeah, which he wasn't expecting to have to go to. So yeah, so it was kind of a last minute thing. Like, hey man, can you sub for me? I'm like, yeah, no problem. Go be with your son, man, and enjoy the soccer game. So, yeah. So Aaron, I came in. I wasn't expecting them to do the whole cake thing, and I show up and we're sitting here eating, and Aaron and Ernie leave for a suspiciously
JW.
long, or Aaron and JW leave for a suspiciously long amount of time, and come back with this cake. So it was a nice surprise. It really made my evening. So thank you guys for doing that.
You're welcome. And yay. Why does it say yay?
Oh, yeah.
Because when we're sitting in his office this morning and Ernie comes by and says, hey, I can smell you. You're here. You're going to be on the show tonight. And what does he say? Yay. So yay on the cake. So that's the inside joke there. He's a good sport, can you tell?
Yeah.
But the good news is you'll be with your girlfriend tonight instead of a hotel by yourself.
Yep. It's going to be a good night. So she's having one of her, actually my brother's girlfriend over, and they're doing some shopping and getting some stuff, and then we're all going to plan on getting together after the show and try and do like a painting activity or something fun. So we'll see what we end up doing. But anyway, enough about that.
So let's talk about I guess we're starting with, we want to talk about Kicker U last week. That's right, I forgot.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, I'm taking all the stage.
You're okay. So Kicker U, if you guys don't know, is our in-house training that we do. And we get some of our dealers from all over, even international. We had a couple of guys come down from Canada, along with Mike Dambrook from Jimson. And we basically do a whole building tour. We do a lot of fun stuff. We do some trainings, some hand-on disassembly and reconing of the L7X and ST series stuff. And then we did a crash course on the Warhorse amplifiers. We also talked like some integration training, but it was a lot of fun. And I like doing the Kicker U stuff to get our guys in and get to know them a little bit better. And it's a little bit more personal than going to a trade show or something like that, because we all have to spend a couple days together. And it's just a blast. And if you guys ever get the opportunity to come up, absolutely take it. It's a great time, and we love showing you guys what we do every day. Here's some pictures. So we got, there's Tracy in his blue shirt on the left, and then we had a couple of guys really from all over. We had people in from California, Canada, from southern United States, and it was a blast, man. Oklahoma City even, yeah. So some guys close to us. But what we did in the UnMasked studio, we demoed our quad box that we have on the side of the room, and then Ernie just got the sound system working in the room, which in the back of the room, you guys can see them in the pictures hanging from the ceiling. There are these big array speakers that have been hanging there for a while, and then we have 4 of the old Solo X18 subwoofers in the wall behind those. And they're down by the floor, but Ernie played some Rush for us at an incredibly loud volume, and it sounded like live music. Here's one of the guys doing a recone, it looks like, on the ST tweeters. And sorry, I dropped my pen, but it was a blast. And we also did the L7X at that station with those fellas. And here I am about to do my training. I don't remember what Aaron was doing, but he looks excited to get people to be raising their arms.
It's deodorant check.
Yeah. Those poor guys. And there's Matt. He's one of our regionals, and he's recently, well, I don't want to say recently, but it's been a couple years since he started growing his hair out, but he keeps letting it get longer and longer, and now we use him for hair tricks in the Bronco, so that was fun. And here's a group photo of all of us in front of the Wall of Boom, and it's signed by Steve Irby.
Look at the two in the middle, isn't that fantastic?
Two in the middle.
Right there.
Right here?
Yeah, they look like they're in school.
Oh, yeah, it looks like a... So he's talking about Aaron and Ashley in the front, and it looks like they're taking like a third grade school picture or something.
Well, look at John Myers. He's scowling.
Yeah. He's the teacher.
Oh, yeah. Good times. Good times.
But yeah, Kicker U is a blast. So John is, he's in Arizona training some of our dealers down there. I don't remember who he's training, but...
Well, and the funny thing is, during dinner tonight, he was sending me some pictures. There is a KICKER 2007 SX amplifier, 2005 SX amplifier in a retailer on display, available for sale since 2005. So,
wow, that's, let's see, how long has that been now? Since that's almost 20 years, 19 years.
So you were in second grade?
I would have been 8 years old. Not to make all you guys feel old or anything, but I was only born in 1997, so.
Just a pup.
Yeah.
So one more segment I want to talk about before we jump into the product is, a couple weeks ago, we asked for video questions, Q&A, video questions, so that we could get you, the audience, involved in a video sense with some questions for us. And so we're starting to compile those questions, and if we choose your question to go live on air, you're going to get some swag. You're going to get some swag. You're going to get some cool free stuff. So be sure to send in your video questions, and we're going to sift through all of them. And then the next few shows, we'll start bringing those onto the show. So yeah, that's it.
Yeah, and don't be afraid to have some fun with it either. That's what this is all about, guys, is being on the show, having some fun. And we'd love to see you guys send those in to us via like Facebook or Instagram DM, or even email Bill at social@kicker.com, however you guys want to get that to us. But yeah, I'm excited to see what you guys come up with. We got one from Deviant with... with his little buddy in a sweater, so that was cool. But anyway, let's get to the meat and potatoes of tonight's show. So we're going to be talking about the Key line of products, and for those of you that aren't familiar with the Key line of products, this is KICKER's way to get digital signal processing into the hands of the guys that maybe want it to be simple, or possibly for the people that don't want to go really deep in depth and do it all manually with a special DSP or anything like that. But not only is it simple, but it's pretty effective. So the first product in the Key line that we came out with was the Key 200.4. And actually, at the time of release, it was the Key 180.4.
That's right.
So it made a little bit less power, like 5 watts less per channel than it does now. And we had to make a few changes to it besides that, like adjusting for the sensitivity of the microphone, I think. But it was pretty revolutionary when it came out. There weren't a lot of people, actually I don't know if there was anybody in the car stereo realm that was doing that whenever we came out with it. I know it had been a thing in home audio to tune a room using a microphone, but it hadn't been implemented in cars yet as far as I know. But essentially what that amplifier does is you hook up a microphone to it and set it on top of the headrest, or take your headrest out and put it on top of the seat, and you want to adjust that to wherever like the driver's listening position is, wherever your head would be while you're driving. So you'll lean it forward, lean it backward, whatever you have to do. But what you're going to do is, once you have that microphone in place, you'll play some pink noise through the radio. And the pink noise is what the amplifier uses to make all of its adjustments. So what it's doing is listening with this microphone to the acoustic profile of the vehicle. So it'll listen to the equalization curve, how the shape of the vehicle affects the sound that you're playing through the speakers, and also it listens to the equalization that's present from the factory radio. So once it gets a reading of all the speakers, it plays like some clicks and beeps and pops and gets like the distance of each speaker from the microphone so that it can add time delay to the system as well as factory equalization. So it's a pretty powerful tool with lots of processing built in, and it also has the capability to bi-amp speakers. So if you had something like these KSMT Snowman pods where you can clock them and turn them around, you can have the 2 3/4 on the rear channels and the tweeter on the front channel, and the amplifier will add its own crossovers to the audio system.
So Jacob, real quick, I want to jump in on you.
Yeah,
because you have these in your pickup.
Yeah, I do.
So talk a little bit more about these and how you chose those.
So in my truck, I was going for more of like a sound quality style build, and I didn't really want it to be that loud at the time. Now I want it to be louder, but I mean, I was trying to fit the largest driver that I could way up high so I could get my soundstage raised above the dash. I've got a little tiny Ford Ranger, and all that has from the factory are 6x8s in the front doors, like they're squished up against the side of the dash, and then 6x8s in the rear behind the jump seat. So instead of building like a custom tweeter pod or something like that for the front, I just opted to get these guys and screw them into the pillars and angle them how I wanted them, and they work fantastic and sound awesome. I mean, I was really pleasantly surprised. I didn't really know what to expect, but they exceeded my expectations.
When we released these, there was an interview, I think it was Ken Bundy did an interview with Aaron Surratt, and the main question was, why did we come up with this? And Steve Irby was wanting a way to simply get the soundstage out of the doors up onto the dash in almost any vehicle. And this is the easiest way to do that because of the mid-range and tweeter. So essentially you can run your door woofers as a mid-bass driver and then bring all the mid-range and treble up onto the dash, A-pillars, or wherever it is that it fits best. And so it's a great solution for a lot of vehicles. In fact, one of the best ways to use this product with a Key 204 is in bi-amp mode. You can actually run the factory door speakers and then add the Snowman pod up on the dash, put it in bi-amp mode, and then the Key will re-equalize the factory speakers to blend properly with the pod. So it's a great way to upgrade a sound system with minimal effort.
It's pretty impressive what it does too. So based on what it's hearing from the pink noise that's playing in your car, the amplifier can actually tell if it's the size of the speaker. So it knows if it's a 2 3/4 inch speaker, it knows if it's a tweeter, and it can make the crossover adjustment as necessary. I think the tweeter crossover is something like 4,500 hertz.
3.2.
3.2 kilohertz. And if it's a larger 320. Yeah.
320. So that right there, that 2 3/4 you've got next to you.
Oh, this, yes, yeah. Yeah, so if you had this on the front instead of a tweeter, it would set the crossover to 320 hertz. If you have a tweeter, it would set it to, what did you say, 3.2?
Yeah, 3.2.
3.2 kilohertz.
At 24 dB per octave.
Yeah, so it's a pretty steep slope too.
So what that means is, if you're new to audio, the higher the per octave roll-off, it means the faster we're eliminating frequencies that you don't want. And so that helps to blend the speakers better. They can also handle more power because they're only seeing frequencies that they're designed to play.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And then let's see what we have next here.
So let's talk about start-stop technology real quick.
Oh yeah, good point. So just like what we discovered in Abigail's vehicle, when vehicles have kind of that start-stop technology, maybe it's a hybrid and the engine turns off at a light, or it's not a hybrid and the engine turns off at the light. When the engine restarts, it's going to put a drain on your battery, and sometimes if your amplifier has a protection circuit where the voltage is set kind of high, like 10.5, 10.8 volts, it can send that amp into protection. So the Key 200.4, the Key 500.1 are start-stop compatible, or is it compliant on those ones?
These are compliant.
These are compliant. So these ones will operate down to, is it
6.5
volts?
Yeah.
Start-stop compatible amplifiers operate down to 8.5 volts. But essentially that's what that means. So if your voltage drops for just a second, these are still going to keep playing. If you looked at the amplifier, the protection LED would still turn red, but you're not going to get an interruption in your music. It's just letting you know, hey, your voltage is getting kind of low. But start-stop is really important, especially nowadays with all the hybrids on the road and just start-stop is being introduced in just about anything. So
yeah, my 2023 GMC has start-stop, and the first couple of times it takes some real adjusting to, because when the car shuts down at a red light and you're suddenly, what's going on? What? Oh yeah, the engine just shut down until it let off the brake. But something else, hey Ernie, can you pull up my laptop real quick? I want to show the audience the incredibly small dip switches on this amplifier. One of the goals of this amplifier was to make it as small as possible so it could fit behind a radio, a factory installed radio, fit inside a glove box or somewhere in the dash, so you could really just stuff it away, like in Abigail's car, stuff it away and never actually have to see it, because it's so efficient. It runs relatively cool in terms of amplifiers.
yeah, I think we actually put hers behind the factory radio. It's in the dash somewhere still.
So these dip switches, we talked about biamp mode. So before you actually get this amplifier put in the vehicle, stuffed behind the dash, you're going to want to set the dip switches correctly. Now this image is in the owner's manual. I just wanted to pull it up so you're a little bit familiar with it. So biamp mode right here, if you can see my cursor, that's biamp mode. So you just click this to the on position. And again, what that means is amp 1, channel 1 and 2, are now powering just the tweeter or the mid-range, and the other two channels are powering just the mid-bass, mid-range woofer in the door, or wherever else you happen to put it. And that means you're focusing all 200 watts of energy to the front stage, which, in my opinion, I would much rather have all the power in the front stage and let the rear fill, if there is a rear fill, just run off of deck power or factory amplifier power.
Yeah.
So that's important. I always prefer that setup whenever possible. Also want you to notice the limiter here. So this amplifier, because it's designed to work with factory installed speakers, which are low power devices, the amplifier has the ability to limit itself so it does not damage the factory installed speakers. So even if you like to turn up things much louder than they should be, the amplifier, bless you.
Excuse me,
The
sorry.
amplifier will protect those factory installed speakers with that limiter. So there's a lot of technology. In fact, there are 3 patents on this one amplifier. Just incredible technology. Radio detect, this is for smart radios. Way back when we first started working on this product, which is probably 5 or 6 years ago now, we started seeing smart radios. And just to remind you, a smart radio is the kind of radio that needs to see a speaker load, and if it doesn't, it gets unhappy and it shuts down the outputs. So the radio lights up, but there's no music. So this will fool the smart radio into thinking there's a speaker connected to it because it has a load built into it. So that's what the radio detect button does there. And of course, the microphone input, we already discussed that. Now, once you have done, hey Ernie, can you take that down? Once you have done the installation, you've done the tuning, my favorite feature on this amplifier is the A/B demonstration. The microphone button, it's a single button, push it once, it turns on the DSP. Press it again, turns off the DSP. You can hear exactly what the amplifier has done for your staging, imaging, and frequency response by simply turning it on and off. And it's such a powerful demonstration.
Yeah, for those of you guys that are in the industry and go to the trade shows like Knowledge Fest, we've done the demo in our Fiat for a number of years now. So the guys that sit in and get to experience it, they're immediately able to tell the difference, and it's pretty stark what that little amplifier can do. There's one other thing that I want to talk about, and it's really important for those of us that are installers and are putting these in shops all the time. I saw Better Call Paul in the comments. He's one of the guys that came down for Kicker U, so thanks for tuning in, and good to see you watching, man. But it's called the compressor. And the compressor on this amplifier will limit the output of the amplifier and basically stop it from clipping. So the DSP detects when it's about to send out a clipped signal, and it reduces the voltage so that you don't clip the output of the amplifier. And what does clipping do, Aaron?
Oh, I like to call it woofer cooker.
Yeah.
So when you're clipping the output of an amplifier, another word for it is distorting. And what burns up a speaker voice coil is not so much how much power, it's how much heat. Now, of course, we're splitting hairs here, But when you clip the output of an amplifier, the amplifier is trying to put out more power than it's capable of putting out. So what does it do? It puts out a lot more heat. So that speaker's being pushed out, and then it's being held at its full excursion for a couple of microseconds. Then it's being pulled in, pushed out, pulled in, and every time it stops, that voice coil is getting hot, and there's no motion to cool it down. So that's what burns up those voice coils. It's energy over time, and that's why we have the limiter built in. And let's bring up that comment that Better Call Sal had in there.
Better call Paul.
Thank you. Better call Paul, because he has a great comment. We sell key amplifiers before we sell speakers as an upgrade. It's shocking the difference it can make on OEM speakers. Thank you. That's a great point, because if you're on a limited budget and you want a really fantastic upgrade, install this amplifier with your factory installed speakers and it'll blow you away. When you get another paycheck, or maybe 3 more paychecks later, upgrade to CS or KS speakers, retune. Now remember, the new speakers, so you're going to retune it with this, and it takes about 4 minutes, maybe 6 minutes. Retune it, and then you can do the A/B demonstration again, and you'll hear the difference again.
So,
yeah.
When we first came out with the key, that's how we had the Fiat setup, was just the factory speakers.
That's right.
oh yeah, that is right. Yeah. So if you guys didn't hear Jeremy, he said when we first came out with that Fiat demo, that's how we originally had it set up, was just with the factory speakers in it, which is pretty incredible. That amp, what it can do to a factory system is very impressive. Now, while we're talking about the Key 200.4, we sell quite a few of these at Best Buy, don't we?
We do. We do. Shall we segue? Nice segue.
Yeah, let's segue.
So Best Buy is a great partner for us, and they have what's called a road show, a training road show. We have 10 events throughout the country, and it's stretched over, I think it's 3 months, almost 4 months. And part of what we want to do for our partners at Best Buy is a demonstration of key technology. This is for the guys and the girls that maybe haven't been there very long, so they've never installed one, they've never experienced it, or maybe they just didn't understand what it was, because the truth is, a lot of folks are installing these and never using the DSP, which you can do that, but it's kind of silly. So these are a system built by none other than John Myers, the full-size John Myers. So this is a set of sort of big bookshelf speakers. And on this side, it's a little hard to see because it's, let me just bring it up there. I really want to show this off because John's working tonight and we're having fun. So I want to show this off.
Yeah, well,
Jacob?
we decided to stain these black, and obviously we didn't plan for them to be on camera.
Yeah.
So which way do you want facing the camera?
Yeah, there we go. Perfect, right there. Okay, so what we see here, John built in a KMC3 radio. This is one of our marine source units. Thank you. That's John. Showing off the radio there. And then there's a power supply that's up here in the top. And the power supply powers up the radio and the Key 204. And then we've got a voltage meter. And this actually can demonstrate 3 different ideas for the system. First of all, we can run deck power to the speaker complement, which is a KSS 269. Let me turn this around real quick so you can see the speakers. So the speakers in here are KSS 269. It's a 6x9 woofer. Don't be creepy. It is your birthday, but don't be creepy. 6x9 woofer and a 2 3/4 inch. Now this is a component system. This is what Abigail has in her Toyota, by the way. So the deck power can power up those speakers. And then the second demonstration is the key amplifier with no DSP. The third demonstration is the key amplifier with DSP. So you can hear the dramatic improvement from deck power to amplified power, from amplified power all the way up to key technology. Great demonstration because it fixes the frequency response in a given space, in a given room, like in a hotel conference room, but it also will properly adjust the imaging. So if you're standing in front of the left speaker, it sounds like you're standing between the 2 speakers. So it's just a fantastic demonstration.
This guy says, we need those cardboard cutouts of John as air fresheners like the trees.
Air fresheners.
I don't know that I agree with you because I don't know what they're going to smell like. If they're going to smell like John or if they're going to smell like the trees.
Hey, I've been with John in a car for 4 days. You don't want it to smell like John. John, I love you, but we don't want it to smell like John. So do we have some more questions? We should answer a couple of questions before we get too far.
You can have your John back.
My John back, there we go. Let's take a question, please.
Aaron or Jacob, I'm going to run a Key 200.4 on some KS 6 3/4 active. What's better, an L7T downfiring box or a KMA, excuse me, what's better for an L7T downfiring box, a Key 500.1 or a KMA 800.1? That's a great question, Bobby, and there's a couple different things to consider. The first thing is, do you need the processing of the Key 500.1? So we're going to touch on that here in just a second, but the 500.1 restores any missing audio in your bass signal. So if you've got a vehicle where you turn up the volume and your bass starts to roll off at a higher volume, that's where you want the Key 500.1. The processing will add all of that, it'll rebuild it back into your audio system, and that way you won't have any bass roll off anymore. If you just want more power and you don't need to combat the factory radio's bass roll-off, then the KMA 800.1 I think would be a better choice because you're going to get a little bit more oomph out of it than you would with the Key 500.1. So that's a great question, Bobby. And by the way, this is the kind of question that we would like to see in the videos if you guys send it in to us on social. So feel free to record this stuff and send it in, guys. We'll get you on the show and get you some free stuff.
So, Bobby, just to piggyback on what Jacob was saying, if you've got the factory installed radio, I would almost absolutely go with the Key 501 because I have one of those in my Mazda CX-5. It's 2016 with the Bose system, and it absolutely rolls off the bass at higher volumes. In addition, it has a subsonic high-pass filter on the subwoofer. So when I added the TRTP downfiring 10, it didn't have the low bass that I was expecting. So the Key 501 restores that low bass. And once again, you can actually do the demonstration. You can turn on and off the Key 501's DSP function so you can hear what you're paying for. Now, another option to piggyback on that is if you want to go with the more powerful 800.1, you can use a Key LOC to condition that signal before you put in the 801, and you'll have all the processing power that you get from the 501, but you'll also get additional RMS power. Mm-hmm. Good question. Point. Another question.
Let's do one or two more questions, and then we'll. Oh, it's all right. Do the Key amps share the same footprints as the new Power Sports amplifiers? Great question. So the new Power Sports amps are the KPX amplifiers, and they don't share the exact same footprint. They are slightly different, I believe.
I think it's a little bit longer.
It's yeah, I think, which one? These are longer or the KPX?
The KPX is based on this chassis right here. So if you look at them, they look almost identical, but it's not Key technology in the KPX, but it's a similar footprint.
So if you're curious about the exact measurements, I believe we have both of those on our website. And you should be able to pull up the measurements at the bottom of the product page and see. I think he's right. I think it is just the length that's a little bit, maybe like a half-inch longer on the KPX stuff than it is on the Key products. Good question. Let's get another question going. Does the Key 200.4 adjust gain? Great question. So it has the capability to balance the outputs automatically. So like if you run the auto setup, it'll kind of equalize the levels of the left and right. But the gain adjustment is a little bit different. There are two separate gain adjustments on the amplifier for the front stage and the rear stage. But if you need to do something like equalize your left and right channels, it should do that automatically. So
yeah, in fact, it's called frequency steering. And what that means is your left speaker, well, here, we'll use John's demonstration. So in your vehicle, you're closer to your left speaker than you are your right speaker. And because they are facing you, but slightly in front of you, the frequency response that you hear is different left to right because of the location in the vehicle and the vehicle interior acoustics. So the Key 204 listens to the left speakers separately from the right speakers, and then it equalizes left and right for your seating position. That's what the microphone is doing in that seating position. So it's equalizing left and right, and then is adjusting left to right level so that it sounds like left and right are the same volume, even though you're physically closer to the left. So it's frequency adjusting as well as level balancing. Very, very powerful technology.
Great. So let's move on now to talk about the Key LOC, which we don't have one up here, do we?
Yes, we do.
Oh, yeah,
right
we do.
There,
That's right.
There.
So after the Key 200.4 came out, we discovered that we needed a little bit more processing power. With the new vehicles on the road, OEMs are putting in all-pass filters. They're sometimes adding in time delay to these vehicles. You can access the different listening position settings inside the car. For example, the new Cadillac Escalade with the AKG system, you've got the driver's listening, passenger listening position, all passengers listening position, and it can add or remove time delay based on what listening position you decide to select. It's kind of crazy what the OEMs are doing in these new cars, but we can't just throw a Key 200.4 in these vehicles and let it do its thing, because some of these vehicles might already have time delay present. They might have all pass filters present, which could throw off the way that the amplifier perceives the equalization. It can mess with the tuning in all sorts of different ways. So our answer to that was the Key LOC, and this is a basically line output converter with different version of the Key software built in. So instead of using a microphone to analyze the incoming audio system, it just analyzes that audio signal on its own without the use of a microphone. So your audio is coming in here, its computer is reading via pink noise and other test tones what the frequency response looks like, and then it's making any calculations internally to reach a completely flat frequency response without any time delay, without any all-pass filters. It gives you a blank slate to start with, so that when you're doing these audio systems in newer vehicles with more processing, now you know where you're starting from every single time. You don't have to worry about fighting with the factory system because the key lock does all of that for you. And we have a little demonstration set up here where we can actually show you guys in real time what the key lock does. So
where's your iPad?
It is
I'll get it.
Probably on that stool over there. I'm not really sure where I put it. But let me get this thing turned on. Let me make sure it's playing the right track.
The test tones that we're going to use tonight are on kicker.com. If you go to the key section of the website, you will see the drop-down menu, and you can download these for free, of course. And these tones will give you what you need to analyze the car. And as Jacob said, it's a pretty involved process. It takes maybe 8 or 10 minutes for the processor to do it. But the beauty of it is it's like when you have a headache, what you want is an aspirin to get rid of that headache right away. If you've got a car you're working on and you just can't get it to sound good, you're probably fighting with all-pass filters, time delay, and or frequency response challenges. So the easy button, the Tylenol, if you will, is the Key LOC. It takes away all those problems, so you've got a great audio signal from which to start. So putting it on the front end of a Key 200.4 is a great idea because it takes the Key 200.4 technology to the whole nother level, which gives you much more power and a better response to start with. So what Jacob is setting up here is his iPad is going to be showing you with a real-time analyzer, RTA, it's going to be showing you the frequency response that is coming out of the radio, out of the factory amplifier, and then finally out of the Key LOC. So there's actually 3 different demonstrations here.
Okay, so let's get that shot of the iPad pulled up if we have it real quick. Let's make sure you guys can see that. So what you're looking at here is the frequency response of basically nothing, but there's a little bit of something at 60 hertz, and that can be introduced from like the lights in the room or sometimes a power supply or something like that. But let's see if we can get...
John is tired.
I'll move my arm out of the way in just a second, but let's see here.
Let me turn the volume up for you.
I think it should be at 40 already.
Okay.
Of course, I could have
Yeah,
hooked this thing up wrong, but
it's there.
I'm sure I'm doing something wrong here.
Hit repeat. There we go.
Was it playing pink noise?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Yeah, I must have done something wrong. So you guys can clown me for this one, but I was supposed to bring my IRTA2 from home to show you guys the demonstration, and I forgot it at home. So we have this little kind of homebrew, I guess it's a RTA that we built from like a kiss lock and some multimeter probes, and then basically RCA to 3.5 millimeter, and then a headphone buddy is what this guy is called. And it's supposed to show you the frequency response of an electrical signal that you probe with the multimeter probes. But it does not seem to be wanting to show me what I'm after. Yeah, sure enough. Well, it is live, guys, so things happen. Ah, hey, there we go. So it was working. It was showing us the uncorrected audio signal. Okay, so this is the corrected audio signal after the key LOC has run its stuff. And this is the uncorrected audio signal. So somebody must have pushed the button. Maybe it was me before I started showing you guys the signal, but I was expecting to see the corrected signal, which is why I thought something was wrong. But anyway, you guys can see all of the peaks and dips going through here on this side of the, this is going to be the, looks like the right channel. And this is the left channel, so it's a much more drastic change. There's about 15 dB, I think, between the deepest valley and the highest peak, which this LOC has about 18 dB of correction built in. So when I activate the signal processing, it brings your audio signal completely flat. And while it's doing this, it's also compensating for any time delay or all-pass filters that are present in the audio system. For those of you wondering, this app is called Octave RTA on the iTunes store. I want to say it costs like $6, $7, or $8 or something like that, but it analyzes electrical signals, it analyzes acoustic signals if you have the right microphone and stuff, but it's a pretty powerful little tool, and I like to use it for this type of demonstration. But a cool thing about the LOC is that if you choose to retain your time delay or all-pass filters, you can tell it to do so. So instead of defeating it, you can leave it in place and just do the equalization correction. So it's a pretty cool little tool. And just like the 200.4, it's got the A-B button. So just like I was showing you guys here, you can show the customer the before and after of what that actually sounds like in their car. Sometimes it can sound worse because it's bringing it to a flat audio signal instead of one that's tuned for your ear like the Key 200.4. But it really just depends what the audio signal looked like in the car before you ran the setup.
If you're wondering, well, okay, that's great, but why do I need that? So in the old days, most radios had a relatively flat frequency response. So if you put in better speakers, it automatically sounded better. But when a car has gone through an equalization process, because most cars have the least expensive speakers they can find, they put them in the car, and then they equalize them so they sound relatively neutral. Well, if you take out that lousy speaker and you put in a high-quality aftermarket speaker, any brand, because that signal is adjusted for the factory-installed speakers, it suddenly sounds completely different with the upgraded speakers. In fact, it might sound worse. And I've heard this many, many times over the years. I upgraded the speakers, and it sounded worse, not better. Well, that's what we're doing with the Key LOC. we're taking out all that factory equalization, so what you're getting is a completely balanced neutral signal. And then if you do want to add a DSP with an equalizer, you can do that. You're starting flat. That's why it's important.
Yeah, exactly. Looks like we've got a couple questions building up. Let's see what we have about the key lock. Boyd Hano asks, what app is that? I think it's Octave RTA, and you can find that on the iTunes store. We're using an iPad, and whatever you need to do to show, like, I think it's a mic level input to the iPad. We used the headphone buddy on this guy and built an RTA kind of on our own, but you can buy other RTAs online that work with it, like the iRTA2 from Dean and Fernando over at 5 Star Car Stereo. I use their piece for demonstrations because it has the capability to sum left and right outputs. So it's pretty handy. Let's take another couple for the key lock. So no key lock if you're using a key 200.4. Actually, you probably want to use both, especially in a newer vehicle.
Yeah, so in my 2023 GMC Terrain, it has the Bose factory installed system. So there are dash 2 3/4 inch, there's a center channel, then it's got door woofers, and then a factory subwoofer, and of course rear speakers. And because it's a Bose system, there's a lot of factory equalization, and there's also all-pass filters. If you start putting in a 200.4, the 200.4 cannot correct for all-pass filters, and it cannot correct for time delay. So if you're happy with the staging and imaging, but you want more impact, you want better bass response, you want to go louder, then you could simply use the factory time delay and all-pass filters, and you'll have the same staging and imaging, you'll just have more volume and impact. But if you want to defeat all that and use the Key 200.4's laser-focused staging and imaging, then you do want to use actually multiple key LOCs, because you need one key LOC for the left and right dash, a second key LOC for the left and right doors, and then a third key LOC for the factory subwoofer. And if you're going to do rear fill with another amplifier, you'd actually want to use a fifth one for the rear fill. I myself would just do dash, doors, and factory subs. I'd use 3 of them.
Yep.
Great question.
Or if you have access to a full range signal, you can use one key LOC and piggyback all of those things off the corrected audio signal if you use a left and a right for the key LOC. So you can have a front stage and a subwoofer from one key LOC if you split that signal. So there's a bunch of ways to skin a cat, so it all just comes down to what works best for you.
I'm having mic problems here. I apologize, folks. Next question.
How do you use the key as a line driver? So the first thing you're going to want is an amplifier that can accept, I would say, over 15 or 20 volts on the input. We have, most of our amplifiers now can accept up to 40 volts on the input stage. So you know how you would normally run your RCAs into the amplifier? You would set R amps to high level and then run the outputs from the Key 200.4 directly into the inputs of your amp that can accept a 40 volt input. So that way you're getting the processing from this guy and you're using the power from your larger 4-channel amplifier to get as much sound as you can.
John Myers is the king of using that as a preamp.
Yeah, he is. And I think I did it back when I first was getting into this in my Firebird, my convertible.
Oh, yeah,
so
yeah.
It did make a significant difference in sound, even though it was only like a 15-watt difference on paper. So it sounded much better. Let's do one more, and then we'll talk about the Key 500.1. So the amp doesn't require a remote wire. It turns on with signal sensors. Good question. Why don't you answer this one, Aaron?
So there's a little confusion. Signal sense, DC offset. To clear up the confusion, here's signal sense. Signal sense, the amplifier is looking for a particular level of AC voltage coming to the RCA inputs. Signal, it's looking for an AC signal. So here's the challenge. Let's say you're driving down the road, you're jamming your tunes nice and loud, sounding great, everything's awesome. The phone rings, it's Mother's Day, it's your mom calling, she wants to talk to you. So you mute the radio, you say, hi mom, how you doing, blah, blah, blah. You talk for 4 or 5 minutes. Okay mom, gotta go, mom, I love you, gotta go, bye. You hang up, you turn the radio back up, nothing happens. You turn up a little bit louder, 1, 1000, 2, 1000, 3, 1000, 4, 1005. Boom! It's so loud because it's 5 seconds of a high-level AC signal before the amp kicks on. If you don't know what's going on, you think it's broken and you're really unhappy. That's the signal sense turn on. DC offset works on DC, direct current, not AC, alternating current. So the RCA inputs are looking for a threshold voltage. I think it's like 3.5 volts, 3.5 volts.
We've changed it a couple times and we've brought it lower and lower every time because that DC offset keeps getting lower and lower. But
so when you turn on your factory radio, there's a carrier wave, a DC voltage, about 3 volts coming through all the speaker leads or the factory amplifier. That is going into the RCA inputs on the amplifier, and that tells the amplifier turn on and turn off. So it's virtually fail-proof. Works in almost every installation where you've got a factory installed radio, and it's much more reliable, and it never gives you that scary scenario like when your mom calls you.
yeah, I don't like it when my mom calls me either. So.
Stop it.
I'm just teasing.
Next question.
Let's see here. Can you use the KISS load and the key lock together? Yeah, great question. Again, Bobby, good question. Yeah, you absolutely can. So the key lock will show a 60 ohm load on the speaker wires going to your factory radio. The KISS load will show a 25 ohm load going to the factory radio. So a lot of newer cars require a much lower ohm load than they used to back in like 2012 and 2015. And that's where the KISS load comes in handy. So if you need a load to keep that radio happy, you're going to want to use the KISS load. It works for every car on the road that I'm aware of. And then if you need the processing power, you would install the key LOC behind it. Great question.
Thanks, Bobby.
So the last key product that we've got to talk to you guys about today is going to be the Key 500.1. And this came after the Key LOC was introduced, and it uses a very similar software built into it. So just like the Key LOC, it does not use a microphone to detect the incoming audio signal. It simply analyzes the incoming audio signal when you're playing the proper test tones. So it knows what it's supposed to be seeing when those test tones are playing. And when you play those test tones, it makes any adjustments necessary to reach the flat, uncolored output that you should expect from, well, your subwoofer, to be honest. But a lot of cars, when you turn up the volume, your bass will start to roll off, and your bass won't seem to get any louder as you continue to turn up the volume. And this amplifier can compensate for that. It's got up to 18 dB of correction built in as well. So depending on how severe your bass roll-off is, up to 18 dB, this will fix it for you. But it's a really powerful little amp. Works great in those vehicles that have small front speakers where the factory radio drops off the bass to try and protect them. And you know, if you're adding a pretty good, you know, like a mid-size, mid-level subwoofer, the Key 500.1 is pretty much my go-to for those types of situations.
Questions?
Does the Key have multiple presets for single or dual seat configurations? That's a good question. Right now, it does not. It simply is designed to be tuned for driver's seat or wherever you put the microphone, really. But it has that one preset. And then the second preset would be the factory audio signal. But if you wanted to have something where you could do like a passenger listening position, say you work at a car shop and you want to have a demo car, instead of running the audio setup with the microphone in the driver's seat, you could put it in the passenger seat, and that way when your customer sits in, they can listen to how the system would sound, but they're on the opposite side of the vehicle. It just depends how you want to do it.
If you live in the UK and you drive on the wrong side of the road, you can also properly tune the Key 204.
That's a good point.
Sorry, Celsius.
If you have an aftermarket DSP installed, will the KICKER amplifier's DSP conflict with the aftermarket one? Asking for a friend. So they don't necessarily conflict, but depending on which one you have in front of the other, you're going to be making adjustments to one tune versus the other. So if you have your other DSP in front of a Key LOC, for example, your Key LOC is going to delete all of your tuning that you did previously, and vice versa. If you have your second DSP installed after the Key LOC, ideally, that's the way you want to do it because you have a flat signal going into your new DSP. So now you can make any of the adjustments and tweaks that you need to. But they don't conflict as a general rule, but they might depending on how you have it installed. So that's a great question.
That's a great question. I've
Yeah.
never been asked that before. Next up.
Fan
I guess we
kicked
can
on.
unplug that
I don't know
now.
if you guys can hear that or not, but
Done.
I'll go ahead and move this stuff while you get that next question out
Next
of the way.
question is, my condolences, 6.5 and 4 inch.
Supposed to say CS.
Oh, my CS.
Oh.
Condolences, CS. Oh my God.
Autocorrect.
Autocorrect.
Yep.
Bad. Okay, sorry, Daniel. My CS 6.5 and 4 inch crackling at half volume. I have a Key 204. Why is it doing that? My first guess is improper gain adjustment. So the gain setting portion is done after the key setup. So start with the gains all the way down, front and rear gains on the 200.4, then do the full setup, DSP setup, and then afterwards you can adjust the gains to proper output. And the owner's manual, which I printed out here for tonight, so I'd have it for quick reference, the owner's manual walks you through that, but I suspect your gains are improperly set. Go ahead and tune it, turn the gains all the way down, tune the system again, and then adjust the gains properly. And if that doesn't fix the problem, support at kicker.com, and those guys can walk you through it.
Yep. Yeah, we have a great tech support team, and they're more than willing to help you guys out with any issues you might have with our products in the field. Great bunch of guys up there. I saw a couple of them watching the show. I know I saw, oh man.
Is Keyshawn here tonight?
Keyshawn is not. Keyshawn is in customer service.
Oh, of course, yeah.
I saw him. I can't remember who I saw commenting earlier, but yeah, one of the tech support guys was. Anyway, he was in the chat. So thank you for watching. But anyway, we got a little bit of stuff to do yet, so we're going to move on to our fail picks, our cool picks, and events, all that good stuff that you guys live for, and then we'll get into the prize winners at the end of the show.
So let's do fail picks first. If this fail pick is yours, I apologize. We're not trying to make fun of you. We're just all learning together. But Ernie found us a real winner tonight. It's actually a fail video, and I can say that I've had this happen to me.
Oh, that's the first.
Whoops. Why is it? Okay, let me start from the beginning here. Okay, here we go. So this is obviously a fail. And this gentleman is in the no fuse club, as Ernie likes to call it. And so he's got a real problem. And even after he puts the fire out, he's still going to have a real problem.
Yeah, in the form of a bad smell throughout the car. But, you know, I've done something like that before. What I think has happened was he had some kind of a short going on. It heated up the whole wire, and that rubber casing is just going to basically melt and then start smoking immediately. And I've done that before with, I think it was my radiator fans on one of my, I like to drive hot rods, if you guys don't know. And a lot of times there's a lot of rigged stuff going on in those hot rods. But, you know, I want to say I was 18 or 19, and I didn't know anything about anything. And I hooked my radiator fans up using a light switch from a house, and I dropped it, and a wire came loose and shorted out directly to the body of the car, and instantly that wire smoked up because it was connected directly to the battery. And lesson learned, but it's a very hard lesson to learn. But anyway, I was trying to be cool and have my fans on a switch like the hot rod guys do, and it didn't work out.
That's how we learn. So here's a good fail. Jacob, what's going on here?
Well, okay. So it looked like there was probably a bad connection where the fuse meets the inside of the fuse holder.
Yeah.
Clearly there's not a bad connection on the where the wire's connected, because that's still obviously connected to the wire. I mean, maybe it could be, but some kind of a poor connection was there. There was a lot of resistance in that circuit. 300 amp fuse? Well, I'd believe it.
300 amp fuse, that's the 4-gauge wire.
Oh, yeah. Ernie's got a point. 300 amp fuse on 4-gauge wire. Usually put a 300 amp fuse on 0 gauge wire. So
this is something interesting. Joe Hobart, when last time he was on the show, or maybe 2 times ago, I forget, but he was talking about fuses and how all fuses are not created equal. We spend a lot of R&D time on fuses because there's a huge variety of fuses available. And if you go to a hardware store, you go to a grocery store, you go to a Lowe's, whatever, you're going to find various qualities of fuses. And one of the reasons Kicker fuses may cost a little more than some of the stuff you see out there is because they are guaranteed within a certain tolerance. We've actually tested 200 amp fuses that'll pass 400 plus amps before they pop. That is a problem. Now, instantaneous current, okay, you've got to have some resilience in there. But if you can draw 400 amps through a 200 amp fuse and it doesn't pop, definitely going to be a problem. So it's possible this is one of those examples.
could be.
Next up, Ernie, we got another fail here.
Subway. That's the fail I see. Yeah, that is somebody wanted a spoiler. You know, I'll give them the benefit of a doubt and say that might be some kind of a mock-up to see if they like how it looks. But I think we all know the actual answer to that.
So how many horsepower does that add? That's what I want to know.
About 5 horsepower.
5
for the
horsepower?
wing. And it's also 5 horsepower for every sticker you put on the car as well.
Oh, man, that's easy horsepower. Love that. Extra horsepower.
Wait, what does that say on the side of the car right there? And bacon?
Oh, my gosh.
Somebody like keyed that into the side, it looks like.
Oh, that's sad. There we go. What's going on here?
Okay.
Oh,
So this, Ernie says this is the same guy that had the video with the smoke coming out of his dash. So one, I guess the fail I see here is they're using black and red wires on the same terminal. And it looks like that's the positive according to the battery. So I could see that getting confused.
Not to mention you got some stray wires down here, so there's no heat shrink.
Yeah.
And here's electrical tape.
Electrical tape is better than nothing, but
Yeah, better than nothing, yes. In fact, I have seen duct tape used and 3M tape used.
at what point is something better than nothing? Like, is packing tape better than nothing in that case? Okay, so at least one of them's labeled power right there, but
Yeah, there we go. So, all right, thanks, Ernie. That's our failures for tonight. So now we got some cool picks. And man, we've got some really cool stuff. So I was surfing the interwebs while not sleeping a couple nights ago, and I came across this. This is one of our retail partners up in Thornton, Colorado, Bruce Lee, not related to the other Bruce Lee. But Bruce Lee, this is his shop, and this is a vehicle he's working on. It's not done yet. This is a 1966 oval window Volkswagen Beetle. So his customer brought this to him, dropped it off, and said, here, go crazy. And so he did. He's going crazy on it. Take a look at this front stage. These are Street Series,
wow.
ST 7-inch Street Series and Street Series 3 tweeters on both sides. Check that out. And that is just incredible.
that has got to be the loudest mids and highs inside of a vehicle. I can hear it without sitting inside the car, but it's a great looking install. It's just incredible.
It is. Look at that panel work there. It's just wrapped around. And I told Bruce, I said, you got to send me pictures when it's all done, please. And so for subwoofers, 4 Solo X10s.
Oh, man.
4 Solo X10s.
That's going to be really crazy.
If any of you guys and girls in the audience, if you ever heard a really good system in a Volkswagen Beetle, a traditional Beetle, they can sound absolutely stunning because of the acoustics inside those vehicles. And of course, you're wondering, well, what amplifiers? Well, the customer is waiting for, whoops, that's Jacob's birthday. The customer is waiting for our Warhorse amplifiers. So,
I also like how they mounted those kind of diamond shaped instead of square like most people would. A little bit different, you know.
It's nice, it's nice. They do, Bruce Lee and his crew do really good work. So here's another one. Actually, Bill found this. This is a Miata, and this Miata, it's probably a club racer with great audio. Check this out. So here's the pile of gear they're putting in this Miata.
Looks like that's the amp rack already put together right there too that they built.
I think so. And you see that? I bet that mounts to the spare tire.
Yeah, you're probably
lockdown.
right.
I think that's what that is. So that's cool. And they got, of course, a roll cage. Nice. So here's a close-up of the door.
It's an interesting, yeah, looks great. I like the color. It's like yellow. Is that the original color of the car on the inside of the door panel?
I think so. I think it is, because if you saw the outside of the car, it's that color. So it looks stock. But it looks like they took an extra set of CS tweeters, probably because they fit flush in that factory location. So they've got coaxes in the doors plus CS tweeters in the factory location to bring up the sound stage. And then check this out. This is fun. So a couple of 8-inch mid-bass drivers, another set of 6 3/4-inch full range, another angle of it, and then in the trunk, a square.
Yeah,
L7R.
L7T, L7R, L7T.
I think that, oh no, it is a T, you're right. It's a T, it's flat. L7T. So they've got the mid-bass coming from the 8s and then the sub-bass from the 12 in the trunk.
Looks like they painted the grille too. It looked pretty nice.
Yeah, it's cool. It's a cool setup. Thank you, Bill. That's a nice setup right there.
So, Aaron, what events do we have coming up?
Oh, events. Let's see what we got. Well, of course, the most coolest event is the Slamology, and that's coming up June 8 and 9 in Indianapolis. You may remember on 2 weeks ago we had Donnie Babb, no S, Donnie Babb in the show, talking all things Slamology. And if you haven't seen that show, great show, especially if you want to find out how to create your own event. Now, of course, Slamology has been around for a long time. They really know what they're doing. They've dialed it in. But maybe you want to start something small or something local. Watch that show, and we give you tips and tricks on how to do that. So that's coming up. In addition, we have, of course, American Flat Track. We are the lead sponsor of the American Flat Track races. Go to our website, or excuse me, our Facebook page. Under the events section, you can see where all those events are happening. Also, Monster Truck Rally, Kicker Monster Truck events. I went to one of those in Denver a few years ago. Wow, that was a lot of fun.
Doesn't seem like your kind of thing, if I'm being honest.
Well, okay, so let me tell a story. So we had a Kicker demo truck that needed to be at that event. And so at the time, Kevin Campbell, the director of marketing, he said, "Hey, Aaron, how would you like to be in Colorado for Thanksgiving?" I said, "I would like that." He said, "Drive this truck out there for me." Okay, done. So I drove it out, and we had a great time out there. And Rob and Lisa were there too. It was a lot of fun. So, oh wait, before we go too far, hey, I want to see if the audience knows somebody. We've got sent a save the date wedding refrigerator magnet. Save the date. Hey, Ernie, can you pull up my laptop real quick? It's a save the date.
Yeah, let's just not show the address or anything.
No, of course not, of course not. So this this young lady, this young man, they're going to get married on the 22nd. Brent Blust and Madison Clark, Cincinnati, Ohio. So they're getting married, and I must admit, I don't know either of these folks. Bill and I did a little search. Sarah Kicker Bradley and I did a little search. We can't find any mention of these folks in Kicker Club. They're not on our mailing list, so we don't know who these folks are, but they want us to come to their wedding. So if you know them, have them reach out to us directly, please. Looks like a very nice couple.
Oh yeah, they look like cool people. And we also got a card from one of the Skills USA competitors inviting us to his graduation, and that was nice too.
Yes.
So it's good to see that we made an impression, and that, you know, it's something that he'll remember. But it's super cool to be able to be involved with the students and see that we're making an impact on them. So it's just really cool, you know. It's a far-reaching program, and I mean, I know these guys and gals are going to remember it for pretty much their whole life. I mean, Aaron still remembers when he competed.
Absolutely.
And yeah, it's just cool to me. But
so thank you, Landon, for reaching out to us. And the graduation was was today, Tuesday. It was Sunday. So congratulations. Hope you had a great time. And thanks for competing in Skills USA. We're glad you were there.
Yeah. So what do we have next? Prizes, I think, huh?
Let's give away some stuff.
You want to do the honors?
I do. but it's your show. You should do it.
No, I insist. You do
Okay,
it. You've
okay, I'll do
got
it.
better energy than I do.
But it's your birthday. Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
that's why.
So, third place winner, you probably already know this, but the third place winner gets our EB400 in-ear monitors. You get 2 koozies and a limited edition Kicker Unmasked t-shirt. Who's our third winner, Bill?
Anthony N.
Massachusetts. Anthony N. Massachusetts. Congratulations, you're our third place winner. Second place winner, you get our TW2. These are our new true wireless earbuds. Jeremy, do we have those back now?
No, we're giving away the TW1s.
TW1s. I apologize. You're getting the TW1s, not the TW2s, because that's what we have available. TW1s and, of course, 2 koozies and a t-shirt. Who's our second place winner? Jeremy S. Wyoming. Jeremy, congratulations. That's fantastic. And then our first place winner, of course, you get the bullfrog, not the Bill Frog. You get the bullfrog, the t-shirt, the 2 koozies.
Can we give him Bill Frog too?
No, we need Bill Frog. And hey, the air conditioning just came on. Fantastic.
Yeah.
So who's our first place winner?
Aaron from Michigan.
Aaron, congratulations. Aaron from Michigan, you're our first place winner tonight. So to all of our winners, thank you very much for participating. And we've got a couple things to remind you of. Please like and subscribe so that you get all the upcoming information about our upcoming shows, because we are doing a show again on May 28th. That's the last show of May. May 28th, live again. But tonight, Andy is doing his live after show, so be sure to check out Andy's show after hours. And oh yeah, by the way, Andy is going to be live at Slamology. He's going to be under our tent, so to speak. Well, literally and so to speak. He's going to be under our tent at Slamology Broadcasting, so you're going to want to check him out at Slamology. But he's doing a show tonight afterwards, so hang out with Andy. You can also win cool prizes and get free stuff. And I think, unless you've got something else, birthday boy.
No, that's it. Thank you guys for tuning in, and thank you guys for making it a special birthday. And we'll see you on the next show.
Good night.
Have a good night, everybody.